1. Joining us, the head coach of the Cavaliers, Jamie Cluesman. UVA is back on the road again Saturday. This wraps up a season-opening 4-game road trip for the Cavaliers. They take on the Trojans of Anderson University, 2 p.m. tip-off in Anderson, South Carolina. Coach, before we look at the Trojans, we'll look back on Wednesday night's game at Limestone. We'll get your assessment from there. It looked like to me a much better job offensively, especially inside the perimeter. But defensively, you got beat off the dribble quite a bit, and that proved to be the difference in the game.
Yeah, it was hands down the difference in the game. Defense has to become a priority. We're not just going to continue to outscore teams like we've tried to rely on the last couple of years. Teams are figuring that out. They're figuring out different ways to, slow our offense. So defense has to become priority along with rebounding. But, we shot much better, but we still only shot 1 of 14 from 3. So, we make 1 or 2 more of those and convert couple more free throws. It's an entirely different ball game, but a testament to Limestone. Their guards are very talented players, multiple all-conference players on that squad with a lot of experience as well. So they know how to execute their offense. They've been running it for 4/5 years now. So they knew what they needed to do to expose us, and they did.
Another double-double for redshirt senior Kaylee Johnson in the game, 16 points, 13 rebounds. Pretty balanced scoring effort overall. You had 4 players in double figures, and you got Caitlin Ross going a little bit there late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's always good to see multiple people in double figures scoring. It means we're sharing the ball, even though we didn't have a ton of assists, but we kind of set our teammates up in position to create, to get those high percentage shots. But KJ is playing great. Having a double-double, she's kind of building onto that momentum from last year. But again, our outside shots have to become a little bit more consistent. It's always good when Caitlin Ross scores for us. So to see her kind of get a little bit of that rust off and convert some shots there in the fourth quarter has to give her a little bit of confidence going into the game against Anderson.
Well, speaking of the Trojans, it's a team that you were able to see up close in person in Florida. They participate in the conference challenge like us. It has to be a little bit difficult to try to figure out what's going on there. 2 of their key cogs have only played 1 game this season, won the reigning defensive player of the year in the league. Talk about the Trojans and what you kind of expect here Saturday.
Yeah, very good team. They do have quite a few new faces on their team. But with those 2 players that you talked about being out, I don't know if they'll be playing on Saturday or not, but like you said, they're key pieces to their program, especially number 3 who didn't play, the point guard. She's very explosive, very quick, can score in all 3 areas. And then defensive player of the year. When you go up against a player with that caliber of talent on the defensive end, she's going to make it hard for us to score. But add Taylor Hare in there with that, and Brittany Bailey, they're extremely long. They have a lot of length. They're very athletic. They make it very hard for us to score. They have in the past. So we'll have our hands full, but they do have some youth coming in. So hopefully we can take advantage of that.
Anderson, it seems, at least on paper and what we've seen in the past, more of a grinded out half-court type team. They're averaging just 56.3 points per game. They're coming off their first win of the season, a 61-58 win over LMU. Talk about that and how you have to go into the game knowing it's going to be more of a half-court game as opposed to, especially the first weekend of the season when it was up and down in both of those games.
Yeah, completely different style of play, even from Limestone. It's one of those games where we want to do what we can to control the tempo. So we still want to execute our game plan. We want to get out and try to get some transition buckets. But again, they do a very good job of slowing you down. I'm not mad about a half court game. We'll settle in. They play a lot of half court man. We did see a little bit of zone in Florida, so we'll be ready to attack that. We were prepared for Limestone to go into their 3-2 zone, but they stuck with half court man the whole game. So we have been prepping for zone. So if they throw that at us, hopefully we'll be prepared to execute some of those zone sets that we've put in the last week or so.
Keys to victory against the Trojans.
Definitely rebounding. We've got to make the extra pass with their length, their size. When they contest shots, they make it very hard for us to score. And just like I said a minute ago, control the tempo. Let's try to speed them up a little bit, get them to create some turnovers and us create offense from those turnovers.
Tip-off Saturday from Anderson, 2:00. You can listen on FM 92.5, WLSDradio.com. Thanks for the time, Coach.
Thank you.